Powerful. Oh, oh, good. Good, good, good. Oh, good. I think she's here. Oh,
Hi.
hi, that's your picture.
I'm on my work laptop this time.
Okay.
That was my other laptop was dead.
Oh dear. Are we going to get some video or not?
We are. Hold on. I'm trying to get
Okay.
a virtual background.
Okay, I got you. Well, let me drink some Sanko.
Sanka.
Sanko.
There is nothing so good as Sanka.
About to say, I did not put on this little shit for you to not do video.
Oh. No, it's fine. Hold it. Actually, I don't think I'll do virtual background.
Oh God, are you okay?
Oh, fine.
Okay, good.
No, I was getting up. I had like a green screen for doing virtual backgrounds.
Mm.
Just so that they're more crisp, but honestly, I like my see a lot. So my actual house background is fine. So let me turn on my camera. Starts.
Oh, fantastic.
It's going to be Halloweeny.
I love it. I love it. Oh God. Mine's America.
Right? I was trying to think. I was like, do I want to do Halloween? Or do I want to do America? And since basically this year America is scary, I was like, it's all the same.
Yes, and I would like to thank you for coming back and talking to me in an emergency let's get out the vote session.
I'm totally down because sweet Lord, drag queen's got to do what a drag queen's got to do.
Ain't that
for a vote? I'll do it.
Ain't that the damn truth? Excuse my man hands. Ain't that the damn truth?
Ooh, I'm just kind of like, it's frightening. It's frightening.
So 4 years ago, did you think we'd be here where we are now?
So my father, God rest his soul, you know, my family's from New York, so of course, all things Trump, my father has heard every little underground secret and everything. And he swore that this would never happen. He said, there's no way with as many secrets as that man has, like from his past, there's no way he's even gonna get to the to the nomination. And then when it happened, he literally was like, I personally think that's one of the things that like made him give up on life a little bit. He was
oh God.
He was just like, what? Because I mean, like a year later, it was like
that's actually, well, shit. I did not even damn.
Right? He was because the thing is that I don't know. I guess like when you have because my dad's like a dual citizen, right? He's half America, half Canada. So for him, he always thought of America as like at least not necessarily a fair place. He definitely didn't think America was fair, but he thought that at least most of the people here had at least some common sense.
Right. It turns out that I'll say it, white men do not.
No, it makes me sad because I would say that a lot of people of color, they actually had predicted that this would happen following the Obama presidency. Like a lot of people basically said that whatever happens after that will be a direct reaction to the presidency, which look at it. So, but I don't know. I've gotten to the point now where I'm not at that point where I tell people like, I don't want to talk about politics. But I don't know. It's at this point, and I know we've seen the memes. It's like, if I look at candidates and I look at their policies and even their policies themselves, I'm like, well, these are terrible, right? Like, I then look at the people that are like supportive of the candidates. I'm like, what are you saying exactly? So are you for children in cages? I don't know.
Thank you. Like I have a Facebook friend who is a person of color, who just today spouted off because God and Jesus, he is voting Republican. And I'm like, what? Like, I grew up Catholic. I'm wearing crucifix right now. I don't get the intersection of any kind of religion and what's going on right now. Like, I don't, except for a woman's right to choose. I don't really, and gay marriage, I guess, whatever.
Although you're perfect, I'm fine.
Yeah, I don't like throw your vote at him. It's fine. I don't understand it, and I think you're voting against everything that every minority in this nation has tried to fight against for ever. But
anymore. I don't try. I didn't realize so much like that all America itself is really like who honestly who has the best PR game, right?
Yeah.
At this point, it's literally like,
well, didn't Hillary have a better PR game than Trump?
No, but the thing is though is that it's not just about the candidates, it's about the whole thing, right? Like, how in the world, despite the fact that we live in a majority Christian nation, how is it that like a portion of the population has somehow convinced people that they are the only like political party that's comfortable for Christian people?
I don't.
It's all PR. It's all just like you've had enough people screaming it from the pulpits, right? That all of their followers believed it, and so on. It's like the two friends tell two people, and they tell two people. It's like somehow it's all become this like agreeance that, oh well, of course I'm a Republican because I'm a Christian. What?
I guess me being raised in the combination of being Southern and Catholic, which when I was growing up did not happen that often. They did not talk about politics at all from the pulpit. It was okay, we're against abortion. Didn't even speak about gays. And then that was it. Like everything was Jesus and love. And I'm like, what's happened? What?
Well, I mean, you know about Rob Lee, so I mean,
yeah, exactly, yeah. Stan Rob Lee.
To me in my life, like, who would have ever thought, if you knew how many times when that child was growing up, right? Mind you, I used to babysit this child who is now a grown adult, and he's a huge freedom fighter for all things, like walking in the name of Jesus, because he firmly believes that Jesus would be fighting for these people's rights.
Yes.
But it's like, to me, I think for growing up in the South during all of this and watching how the most quote unquote Christian people treated this child who all he did was talk about like, hey, how about we apply the words of Jesus to our day-to-day and political lives? If we're going to be Christians and be political, let's do it that way. And basically every single person rejected him. Like, what? Like, how many times did my mother call me that I was like fight, like driving to Statesville and burning things down because I was like, I'm so over this.
Oh, God. I'm really surprised he didn't have white crosses being burned in his yard at some point.
He's had the police at his home. They've had to like do protection watches. They've had all of it, everything.
It not still though, right? Like since he's moved, or is it now still?
It still happens.
Oh my God.
He's still getting him and his wife still get constant death threats and all of that stuff. Like every time he makes an appearance, here come the death threats, and now especially because he did that thing where he actually introduced Kamala Harris at the thing. Ever since then, it's just kind of like resurrected. But that's amazing. The thing about death threats to me is like, death threats are the weirdest thing because now anybody can do it anytime on social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a tweet. Oh, boop, 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 boop.
Literally.
Yeah.
And you have to and you have to literally take every one of them serious, even though it's almost always some asshole that's just like, oh, this'll upset them, I'm gonna send this.
I probably need more than 6 followers before I start to get them, though.
Me on Twitter is not really a thing. I tried. It wasn't.
I've got it set up to retweet what I post on Instagram. And
that's better than me. I don't even know how to do that part. I have reached that cusp of 40 where I guess I could learn how to do it, but I don't really want to.
Just a side note before we get back on something. What is TikTok and how do you do it?
I still don't know. However, one of my drag children is killing it on TikTok.
Well, good.
It's like getting money.
How old are they?
Oh, how old is it's Nosferatu is, I think 30.
That's old.
I know,
That's
right?
Surprising.
You can.
Wow.
You can do it.
Good job. No, I can't. God.
Anybody can do it.
What's
his name? Look at Leslie, for goodness sake. He went from like this person that only us knew to like every like straight person in the world thinks he's the most charming Southern man to ever live.
Well, he is.
Well, I mean, I know he is, but all because of like, you're never too old. I think for me, it's like, it's not that I'm too old to learn it. It's just that I don't have the time to maintain it. Like, what? When someone was talking about Instagram and like, oh, well, if you want to boost your Instagram following, like you have to, be regular with your content. And I was like, define regular. Like,
every day, every 6 hours, you've got to add something.
Literally was like, what? I don't what? I don't have
and no. I'm okay with my 6 Twitter followers and my 20 or 30 Instagram followers, most of them being porn people. I am fine with it.
Porn people love drag queens. They love us.
Oh, I know. But they still want their money, though. Anyway, going back.
I'm like,
God. What
is it like there right now? Because I'm in a battleground state and you're in a battleground state.
I was going to ask you the same thing, but I'll go first. So I will say it seems like we have 3 big elections going on right now. We have the governor, senator, and president.
God, I'm so sorry.
It feels like just in the TV ads I'm watching, that the Republican running for governor has given up. He's polling very low. Yeah. It just he's polling so low. Our governor has handled the coronavirus stuff really well. So he's it feels like he's given up. We'll see on that day. Now, Senate, it's probably going to be closed because we had a little bit of a sex scandal. Oh yeah, the Democrat running for Senate decided to sext someone, then have an affair in his house during a pandemic with the wife of a quadriplegic veteran. Wrap your brain around that one.
I don't understand. I say that in the most respectful way. I don't understand.
I don't either.
This is my problem.
Keep it in your pants for one more month. Go on.
I am obviously, as drag queens, I know not all of us are sex positive, but I'm, whatever, right?
Yeah.
If a person has sex, that's them. They're an adult. But if you are running for a political office, right? Like, if you're running for a political office, you would think to yourself, maybe I could keep things under control for a few months, a year, maybe. I mean, I am running for a political office, and I know that the scrutiny is very high.
Right.
Maybe,
but am I still going to vote for him? Absolutely.
Well,
because the Republican is gross.
Sex scandals have nothing. It has nothing to do with a person's ability to govern. But it's just, for me, it just literally, I always have two frames of thought for those, right?
Mm-hmm.
I either think that they think of themselves as invincible, which worries me, or I think of them as being very careless, which also worries me.
Yes.
And so that's when it goes back to like remembering that people are human and that people have impulses based on like their own stuff that they're going. So I leave it at that, because I'm just like, what are you doing? Right? Like, what was his name? What was the other one that everybody loved? And then
John Edwards. God, when his wife had cancer and he was sleeping, but she knew, like the wife knew. It's slightly different.
It's just like it doesn't matter. It's literally like, what I don't get when people make reckless decisions like that when they're in the middle of like the public eye. I just don't get it.
I don't know. Or, if you're going to do it, have it somehow get out halfway through, like
something.
And then like when you've already got the seat, then have it get out, deal with it while you're in power, and then move on,
like, just not like this. Just
exactly. Not. But as for the Donald, I even at work will talk politics. And a lot of people who voted for him the first time are disgusted by him. Not because of the things that you and I would be disgusted of him by, but because of how poorly he's handled the coronavirus.
Jesus Christ.
It is all he can't manage his way out of a paper bag. A lot of them say, I vote my 401k, and they are afraid their 401k is going to tank if he can't get us out of this soon. So they're like, we're gonna vote. We'll vote Joe Biden. They'll vote Republican up and down everything else, but they will vote for Joe Biden and vote him in.
Well, it's something. We'll say that. It's something.
What's it like in Florida right now?
It's complicated. If it was a Facebook relationship status, it's complicated. It's really hard. It's hard to tell down here, right? Because Florida it's so much like the rest of the country, which is like, there is so much rural area that is always red, and there's so many cities that are always blue. It's so weird because ultimately, like, this state is the exact same as the country, right? Just like Ohio, it's the exact same as the country. It's like everywhere that it's rural, it's not as densely populated, but they are reliably red. Everywhere it's densely populated is reliably blue. And so the polls are always like just neck and neck, always, like, and it's fine. I have come to the conclusion in life, which I hate it, but the realization that there are some people that it does not matter how a person does in the presidential election, like in terms of what is their record, what are they running on, what is the past, what are the last 4 years, or what was it like, or what was their whatever. It doesn't matter. It just matters that they have a D or an R, and they'll just vote for them.
Is Marco Rubio out there stumping for the president, or is he keeping his mouth shut?
I've noticed, at least personally, I have not noticed too many people, Senate or Congress people, have been out there like being super loud about that.
Now that's not surprising, because I think that, but Rubio has a lot of pull, especially Miami.
He does, but I haven't, it's just not been the same. I don't know if it's because of the virus, I don't know what, but it's not been like, because I listen to like NPR every day, and very rarely have I heard them talking about like other people down here stumping. So I don't know. I don't know what that means. They may be up in the northern part where they know it's like reliably, they can possibly
like
things, but
Tallahassee.
Yeah. Or there's like the Republican there's the other Cuban Republican stronghold in Tampa that they focused a lot on. So
that is, I will say this with a straight face. Tampa's a fantastic city.
I think I went to Tampa once.
Actually, St. Pete's is cool. have you been to the Dolly Museum there?
No, I've not been up there. Honestly, I know this is gonna sound really ridiculous, and I'm ashamed to say it. I have lived down here now for 9.5 years, and I know, right? And 9.5 years, I have been to the Keys, and I have been to Orlando twice.
Okay,
and that's it.
Well, you know, once Richard Branson's train gets finished, you could take that sucker all the way to Tampa.
Oh, he's not. Branson's not doing it anymore.
Is he not?
No.
Oh.
It got changed again. It's no longer Virgin anymore. That fell through.
Is it still going to Tampa though?
I mean, I think there's still like that actually was on the amendment ballot this year.
Okay.
About railroad infrastructure. So
what is going? Is my earpiece getting ready to die on me? Hold on here.
Hope not.
No, it's not. Hold on. I can't hear you, girl. I can't hear you.
So yeah.
Okay, I'm back. It's not blinking at me, so it's got to be fine.
Great on you, by the way. I love that wig color on you.
Thank you. I do too. It kind of looks like Gossamer from Looney Tunes. The part and everything. I love it. I love it.
So yeah, so it's crazy. Our neighborhood is mostly Democrat leaning, at least based on people's yard signs. And, but it's really funny because our next door neighbor, not next door, but like our diagonal neighbor, he is a very prominent Democrat, like in state national politics. So like he's met the Obamas, he's like all of those things. And he stays on top of us. He's like, he and his wife have kind of adopted us like their grandchildren. And so he's basically just been like, did you do your ballots? Did you turn them in? Did you mail them in? Did you want me to drop them off?
Have you voted yet?
Yeah, we dropped them off. We did the drop off out here.
Okay.
Because there's just no way, like there's the way that early voting has been, there's no way I could take off a day from work to go stand in line. Like,
here I've tried to go early vote, and I could have requested my ballot, but there's just something at the time with the post office and everything was when I had to request it, and I was like, I feel more comfortable going in person, so I've tried to go early vote now, and the lines are between 1 and 2 hours long generally. Good sign for Democrats.
Yeah,
but it has the feeling of a little bit of voter suppression. Like I live in an area that's got well over 100,000 people. In this little area, there's only 2 sites. There should be 10, 15. Like I don't understand it. Where we should just throw funding at this shit and like
it doesn't
make it simple.
It's not right. Like it is in some of these states, it is so clearly voter suppression that I'm just sitting here the whole time thinking, like, how is this legally happening? Like, how is it that no person is saying anything? Because clearly there's a problem, right? Like, what is it? The thing they're fighting in Texas right now, where the governor the governor like wants to restrict the drop off mailing box
one per county. Some of those counties are so rural. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, like it. And the thing is, and that's what's so funny, right? Is like people are saying, "Oh, well, it's Democrats," blah blah blah. But I'm like, there are people in rural parts of the state that have to drive many hours to get to it too. Like, it's not just about big cities.
Here's the thing: in mail-in voting, I don't. If Republicans got behind it, they would get so many more votes. Do you know how many people in rural-ass North Carolina won't go to the polls, but if they had something sent to them, they would fill it out and turn it in, and those people are Republicans.
Here's the thing that I have with this, and this is the thing that I have puzzled over. I have tried to figure this out for the life of me, which is, when is the day that access to voting became a partisan issue?
I have an answer for you. It was during Nixon, I believe, was the first. Yeah, I mean, probably earlier than that. It was probably as soon as slaves got the right to vote.
Isn't it crazy though? Like it's to me. I mean, I legit am at that point where sometimes I just look at it and I look at people and how they're fighting so hard to keep people from voting, and I'm like voting now, just saying the word vote somehow has almost gotten completely aligned with the Democratic Party, which is weird, right? Like they had the whole controversy with NBC and Demi Lovato, and just she didn't say vote against Trump. She literally just had vote projected on the screen, and NBC completely suppressed that. And I'm like, when did this become a thing? But you're right. It's like basically as soon as other people besides the original people started getting the right to vote.
Yeah. Oh, look, people of color are actually like free and citizens. Oh, well, we can't let them vote. Like,
we can't be doing that now.
No.
Why are women lining up? What are they doing? Do they want to vote? What has happened? No.
No. We can't let them vote.
No. And now all of those same groups are like, I don't feel like voting this year. Like, okay. Okay. That's
you know what? God,
He's died for your right to do this. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. I don't care about the president. There's literally a million other things on the ballot. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fine.
I convinced my grandmother to go vote. My grandmother was 89-year-old Oma. She was not going to go vote. And there was something, I don't know what the final straw was. I think it was the coronavirus, but she's always seen Trump. Trump reminded her the way he speaks of Hitler, like just the way he speaks, the way he gets the people riled up.
Your grandmother more than anybody else.
Thank you. I mean, she was forced to go to Hitler rallies. She was not a Nazi, let me clarify, but she was forced to go to rallies because everybody at the time was in Germany. And it physically scared her. And eventually she's like, well, I don't like Biden. I'm like, girl, not everybody does. But eventually she's like, you know what? I think it clicked. Hearing him speak one time, she's like, he actually is all there. Like, yeah, he is. He stutters, but he's all there.
The thing is, right? And this is the thing that is my absolute. Obviously, I tend to be very left-leaning in everything.
No.
So, was Biden my choice in the primary? No. However, Biden cares about the country.
Yes.
Right? Like, he actually cares about the country. The other fellow, we know he literally just cares about himself and enriching himself. That's all he cares about. Like, and it took, 4 years of showing that, but like a lot of us knew that before he ever like we were joking when all of that was happening the first time, and we were like, he doesn't even want to be president.
I know. He just wants to go up there, be mean to some people, and then go back to New York. And he can't go back to New York now.
Right. I'm like, we know he didn't want to be president. We know it. It was very evident. But it's like, and so after all this time where it's basically been proven that he didn't really care about the country, I mean, wait, can we at least have a president that cares about the country? Like,
I know, right?
Just one.
So, donation-wise, I have not given any money to Biden because in the primary, as soon as I gave money to somebody, they stepped down.
Girl, I ain't never gave money to these people. Let me tell you what. I am not opposed to people giving donations to whatever. I don't care. But I'm just not, because
I will say presidential wise it doesn't really matter because the Democratic Party gives them so much money. Exactly. There are some Senate races though, like Kansas and Iowa, and those throw those people money. I've thrown money at a couple of those because it's cheap to advertise and they need it.
I did give a little bit to the South Carolina gentleman.
Oh, Jamie.
To do that because Lord knows.
I know.
Please take out Lady G, please, Lord.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Just the way Jamie looks, he reminds me of Neutrogena a little bit.
Oh, I thought so too. The very first time I saw him on a poster, I was like, "What?"
Is that Neutrogena Jackson?
Yeah, I was like, "Wait, who is that?" Yeah, no. The very first time, it did catch me off guard. I was like, "Man, is Miss Neutrogena Jackson running for the Senate?" Yes.
I mean, I'd vote for her in a second.
I'd vote for Neutrogena in a hot minute. You wouldn't even have to tell me.
Oh, I am going to make sure I find the old picture of her and her little picture pops up while we're talking about this. Right? She'll hate me for it.
Please do it. Like, you have to. Like, honestly, I did think that at first. I was like, wait. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh, okay.
Did she move back from Indiana? She lives in Indiana. Did she move back from Indiana and run for what? No. Okay, it's just Jamie Harrison.
And then I was like, oh, hey, Jamie.
Uh-huh.
How you doing? Leave that alone. But, we had our own mess here with Gillum, so I'm not in them waters. I'm leaving.
Isn't he a bisexual now?
Yes. I mean, I don't know. Down here, that was just a mess.
Was it?
Mess. Well, because the thing is, right? Like, how the whole thing came about, that alone was a mess. And so then, because it is South Florida, and South Florida with the gays is a very small community, people were like, bitch, I knew the people that were in the room with him and blah, blah, blah. And this is a real famous escort, yada, yada, yada. So down here, like, tea was spilling before any other tea got out. It was already spilling.
Well, you know what? Good job, Terry. Not Terry. What's his name?
Oh, Andrew.
Yeah, there you go. Good job.
I felt bad for him, right? Because the thing is, here's how I felt about the entire situation. Number one, this is what happens to people when they are trying their best to suppress their sexuality, and then when they can't suppress it, they start doing things sneakily. This is what happens. It happens. It's like it's the most common thing, right? So I do feel bad for him, right? Some people are like, I don't feel bad. I'm like, no, I do feel bad for him because this is what homophobia does. This is what happens, right? Like, whether he is a bisexual or whether he is a homosexual that says he's bisexual, either one of them is what happens in our ridiculously homophobic society. It happens. You have a person who's doing dangerous things, and eventually they come back and they get him.
Yeah.
Right? If you're allowed to live openly and happily how you live, then you're not even at this point where you're doing dangerous things, you're doing suspicious things. You're like, because you're allowed. You're
just living life is what's going on. Yeah.
You know? How radical is it? Sometimes when they tell us about us being radical, the radical left. I literally, like, some days I get up, I put on my lip gloss. Right.
It is popping.
Gloss. Which just let me tell you, best lip gloss ever. This super lustrous gloss from Revlon. Hold on, let me do it the right way. From Revlon, it is.
Girl, there, a little bit. There you go.
The name is covered by the fucking label, which is really Anyway, it's like they did the formula. It is the best lip gloss ever, especially if you like just a touch of color. I do like having on my little calls I do every day for work. So yes. But anyway, it's amazing because sometimes I know this is stupid and I know I'm being ridiculous, but every once in a while I'll walk through the course of my day and I'll say, what are the radical things that I'm doing, right? So I'm just sitting here and I'm like, I'll get up and I'll look over and Galen will be in the bed. I'm like, number one, apparently this is radical, right? There's a guy in my bed. There's the guy in my bed. So that's radical number one. And I look at my hand and I'll see my wedding ring. I'm like, there's radical number two. I'm like, I got married and I'm gay. That's so radical, right? And then I'll go into the getting a shirt out of the closet and because it's not the most like mundane heteronormative shirt. I'm like, oh, this is radical. Oh, this has got paisleys on it. Oh boy, everything I do is radical, right? I'm like, if this is the definition of radical at this point, we need to do the definition.
Girl, I think that you pushing the caftans out of the way to get to the shirt is more radical. Right? Oh, look. Shh.
Oh, I have to go be in drag. Which caftan will I wear today? There you go. Radical.
Oh.
I am happy that it's getting to be
fabulous.
I can break out my flantans again. I'm so excited. Like, there's like 5 months out of the year I can't wear these around the house, and now it's getting a little bit cool again. So
what is a little bit cool? Like 60?
Oh no, like 73.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's like so cool here. And I put this on Facebook the other day, which is really very funny. But cool here literally is when the outside temperature is finally lower than your air conditioning temperature. That's cool. And so one day I was like walking by and I was like, does that say 73? Oh, because like, fall is here. Fall is here. Like, it doesn't mean it's going to keep dropping. It just means it's below what your AC is set at.
And tomorrow it could be 90 again, but,
right? But for one day, fall is here, right? Like, that's literally fall in South Florida. It's like, oh my God.
I could pull out the big comforter and
I wear my flantans again because it's right? Like, the difference between fall and winter here is, can I wear my do I have to wear clothes under my flantan?
Mm-hmm.
Winter here, you probably should wear something under flantan because it's a little bit chilly, but when it's like fall, no, you're just naked under the thing. So
a little bit chilly is what, 50? 60?
60s here. 60s are like when so when I had one of my old jobs here, my first job I had when I lived here, I didn't have any concept as a North Carolinian of South Florida cold, right? So, I remembered when the first time they said there was gonna be a cold front, and this lady I used to work with, she was a hoot. She's like, "Oh, I can't wait for tomorrow." I was like, "Why?" She's like, "Oh, because it's gonna be cold." She's like, "I'm gonna break out my boots. I'm gonna break out my coat. I'm gonna like." She's like, "I got all the leather I've been waiting to wear." And I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be cold." Right? In my head, I'm like, "Oh, it's gonna be cold." So I went look at the Weather Channel, and it said like 68. It's like, wait a minute! What are you talking about? Why are you getting out a full leather coat and leather boots and leather gloves? 68? That's okay. So that tier is cold. Like it's actually starting being.
But I bet you she looked fabulous, didn't she?
Oh no! Let me tell you, when it started to fall at that building that I used to work at American Express, I used to love it. I used to like wait by the entrance just to see what people were wearing because people brought out stuff they've been waiting all year to wear. And it was a fashion show for about a good like 2 months. It would be like like fashion show of things because they'd be like, "Oh, the building gets so cold." I'm like, "Okay, yes,
sure, yeah." I'm still in shorts and t-shirt,
right? Sleeves, still like, okay, girl, my pussy is wet, but you're apparently just ice cold right now. Okay, I didn't get it. But I mean, that's the thing, right? We're not from here. I was trying to explain it to a person. I was trying to explain them like where we were actually from. I was like, okay, imagine there are the mountains. I said, yes. And imagine beside the mountains there are the foothills. Yeah. And they're like, okay. I said, that's where I'm from. Like where it's still cold, but we don't get the beauty of the mountains.
Right. There's farmland that looks a little desolate, and it gets kind of cold. There's a lot of rain and wind, and sometimes we get hurricanes.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, that's where I'm from. Like, imagine that you live in the mountains and it's beautiful there. And like, that's why you put up with the weather. But imagine that you get the same weather, but without the beauty of the mountains. That's where I'm from.
Yes. There's some hills.
There are hills.
And they rebuilt Fort Dobbs.
You told me that. What?
You need to Google
what does
it.
Look like now.
I have not driven by. I Googled it because I saw something and was like, They actually put up like a wooden structure. Yeah. They rebuilt Fort Dobbs.
Like the cabin part and everything. But the cabin had such good memories for us. Like
I know.
Like to be catty because we didn't want to be in there at the hospital picnic.
Yeah, because it was so hot and the food was crap.
It was so hot. The only thing I liked was the watermelon because nobody had to make it. Oh man, those were some memories.
They were some memory. Oh my god, that was a long time ago.
I told somebody, I was trying to explain it to Galen like where we met. I was like, so we were two really young little kids, and we were at the hospital picnic, and since we were about the same age, our moms thought we should play together.
Yeah, it was fine.
That was it. Like Eric came and he had this really pretty dog. You know, his parents had a very pretty dog. And that's how it works.
It's such
the future
is life.
Right there. It was just like, here's the future.
Oh, yeah. Whoa. Oh God. I want to tell you a story because I don't think I've ever told anybody this. Ooh. I am still haunted by something my father did back when I was young. You ready for this? It still pops up in my mind. He had the conversation with me. I don't think my mother knew this.
Right.
Of white people and black people being different from each other.
Oh Lord.
Because I was hanging out in kindergarten with later. But it still pops up in my mind like my father was an asshole. Like, yeah. Why did you need to tell me that? Well, and of course, that for that year, it affected the way I thought about things. I mean, I've since thankfully grown past it, but that was.
Well, I mean, here's the thing that we are. I try to explain this sometimes to people because they have very similar stories to what you just said, right? Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I really try to express to people is that we are not given, oh my Lord, we are not given proper context to anything. I love this, by the way. Like, we're not given proper context to anything. So when you think about like your father, my parents, like people like that, we are still, as children of the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand that we were raised by the generation that was in the 50s and 60s South.
Right. Exactly.
Like, we don't. And the thing is that, like, for better or for worse, people don't get that. Like, they talk about our generation as if we are somehow very different and we're like unscathed by the racist South. Of like, that's the people that raised us.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that, well, now unfortunately I think that the generation is being scathed by it again. I'm hoping that they're getting to the point that it's not, they at least can have some independent thought about it.
Oh, it's getting to the point now where it's just like I mean, I realize that they've said, like, you know, the new next generation, like, they are overwhelmingly liberal in their thinking and blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that I want to believe that. Like, I do. I want to believe it. But sometimes, because you know me, I love old movies, right? So sometimes I'll watch old movies and I'll see these glimpses of how young people were then.
Yeah.
And the same young people that the adults back then were telling them were being liberal and being all of these things. And I'm like, so wait, all of these young people didn't stay this way. So
no.
I keep hearing them talk about younger generations, but it's like, I guess just because I am familiar enough with the fact that there were a young generation that was back then, that the older generation was like, you people are too liberal and you're too loose and you're too this. And then later in time, the same people that they were saying that to you are the people that are saying it. So it's like,
yep.
I just don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Such is life. People, Supposedly, people get more conservative as they get older, except for Bernie Sanders.
I'm still waiting for that. I'm still like,
I'm not.
I mean, I do have a feather boa. So I guess that is more conservative than normal, right? Like, I don't have my tits out.
I mean, my V is still a little deep, and it is sleeveless.
I'm still trying to get my I got some new boobies last week, which I'm super excited about. And I'm still trying to get them fitted properly because you have to kind of cut the neckline a little bit to make it. So because I have a Halloween show next week, so I was like, I need to get new boobies.
I've just decided that if I do actually do a show again, which I will, it's a win. I don't know if I'm going to wear boobies. I'm going to be that radical. And just
here's the thing, right? So I wear boobs for a specific reason, right? Like, obviously, I am a bearded drag queen. There's nothing to me that is about female illusionment. I literally am just like a monster, right?
Girl, you're a fish.
So I am.
You are 80% fish, 90% smell.
But it must be 80% codfish.
Rotten cod on a plate, waiting for a cat won't even eat it.
Rotten cod and catfish with all this beard. But anyway, so for me, right, literally the reason why I wear boobs is because I put so much work into these clothes that I make that I want them to look how they're intended to look.
Oh yeah.
And they don't look right without boobs. Because I used to not wear boobs, like when I first started doing it. And I have this friend. She won't care if she's mentioned or not. Billy. Billy is she is the bluntest friend that I have. She is amazing. She's one of the friends that I made because she was friends with Galen. And but she, like, one day she was at the theater. She came to watch the show and all of that. And she said, "You know what will make this dress look better? Boobs." And I was like, "What?" Because in my head I'm like, well, no, I mean, I'm not trying to be like a female illusion, right? I was in my head, like, that's what I equated it with. I'm like, I'm not trying to be like a female illusion. Like, I really am just like a performer. And she's like, yeah, but but your dress will look nicer. And so one day I was like, okay, let's see. So I went to Walmart and got a bra. And because I didn't want to invest too much money at first. So I went to Walmart, got a bra. I put in some little socks just so I could check it out. And I put that dress on. I was like, oh no, she's right. This does make my dresses look completely different, like with this silhouette being different. I was like, oh, I really want my dresses to look as good as possible. So I guess I'm gonna have to get some boobies. And so yes, that's really why I started wearing boobies. Like if it wasn't for the dress silhouettes, I wouldn't wear them.
I will probably I will probably never buy one of the nice sets. I may go back to Dear Sweet Mary Kmart. Taught me that you somehow find the huge Nerf balls, and you cut those in half and cover them with pantyhose, and they make the most comfortable tits. Yeah. I mean, they're perfectly round.
You can find, like, there are really good places like at Joann's because they have like different types.
Joann's fabrics and titty section.
Hey, that's where I get my foam for my hip pads is Joann's. I go to Joann's, I buy my slab, and I slice that thing up and make some new boobies. They were booties. Literally.
Did those old women know you by name yet?
Oh yeah. Well,
okay.
So here's the thing, right? So every Joann's is different. So I can already feel the eyes rolling. So
I'm not gonna roll my eyes because you can't see that and with this makeup on.
So here, it's really cool. So down here, where I live, I'm actually like within a 30-minute drive of 5 different Joann's. Yeah, 5. And so because of that. There's different staff at each one. So I only have 2 Joann's that I know the staff really well. So that's the Joann's that's here in Plantation, right? They're like my heart. So I'm literally friends with all of them on Facebook because it's almost all young people.
Okay.
And they're almost all young queer people, which is very awesome in every way. So them they're like family. So then there's on the opposite side of town, back when I still lived out east, the Joanne's I used to go to there, now that's all older ladies. And yes, they all know me. Like, as soon as I walk in, they're like, oh, what are you working on today? I'm like, okay. So, but see, I'm not, in terms of fame, though, I'm not the famous one, because there was a person who I think was on Project Runway that's from South Florida. And that's the store that he used to go to for his fabric.
I know. Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but anyway, like, and I think he won. I think he was like when
he did
when it got reboot, right? And so they know him, like he is the famous one there. Yeah. So like one day I came in and I was like getting something. They're like, "Oh, do you know blah blah blah?" And I was like, "Who?" Because I hadn't watched the new Project Runway.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, do you know blah?" I was like, "I don't know who that is." Like, he's on Project Runway. He's in the finals. And they were all excited. I was like, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" And like, "Does he still come here?" Like, "Yeah, we've seen him." I'm like, "Okay." I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm familiar with him, I guess, in theory.
Is it Mondo? Is it Mondo?
Well, I mean, Galen actually, it was really funny because Galen started watching the new Project Runway, which was really weird. I was like, what? Because like he doesn't normally watch reality television. Yeah. But yeah, he got like sucked into it, and I don't know why I just never watched it. I just haven't watched this new version of it.
It's good enough.
No, that's what he said. He said it's not the same, but he said it's actually good. He's like, it's you know still enjoyable to watch.
Now that horrible show that Heidi Klum and Tim Gunn did on Amazon,
Making the Cut.
Did you watch that mess?
We watched the first episode.
That's all you need. It's real bad. Yeah. The person who should have won did not.
We watched the first episode, and I was like, I like it, but I don't like it. It was really weird. It was like I liked the drama of like the runway because it was the Eiffel Tower. So I was like, oh my god, this is everything. Yeah. So I did love it, but at the same time, like me and Galen were just both very confused with the judges' critiques and what exactly they were looking for. So like, yeah, it was just like, I mean, I guess at some point we'll keep watching it, but then we got sucked up in the British, the Great Pottery Throwdown. So that was all she wrote. Once that happened, we were done. We were like, oh, this is it. This is a show for us.
I forgot about that. I'm writing that down because I've seen it on my to watch list. But
I'm telling you, it is the best. Like, I would dare say, just for me personally, because me and you have our own personal relationship with all things British culture, it is the best, because it takes like the formula of British Bake Show and Bake Off, and it's just a more emotional and a more like creative. More emotional.
Oh my god.
It is. Okay, so without giving too much away, because this is something that you could have easily read online, there is one of the judges. He cries a lot. He gets so overwhelmed with the pottery that he just cries a lot. And he's this giant man. He's actually physically in size, he would remind you of your father. He's like,
oh my
6
god,
foot something. He's super wide. He's super like. But yeah, he gets so overwhelmed with everything a lot that he just starts crying. So that alone makes the show worth it. But it's like, I don't know. It's really hard to describe like why it's so interesting. But we literally started watching one episode because I was like, oh, that guy, because we saw him on another show. He was on another, because I get BritBox, and because of course I do. And
yeah, of course you do.
They did a show that took place in like an old like 19th century house. Okay. And the purpose of it was a competition show too, but we basically had to do like everything was without tools, like power tools. Everything had to be done how they would have done it in the 19th century before electricity. So it was really interesting, and he was one of the judges on there. So when I saw him that he was on here, I was like, oh, we'll give it a try just to see what it's like. And what I didn't know is that Galen actually is very much into pottery.
Okay.
Right. So apparently he actually used to take pottery classes and all that stuff. So He was really into it, but then I was just into it because I just love the judges. They were amazing.
I took pottery for a hot second. I'm really bad at it.
I would like to try it.
It's try it once, and if you don't like it, just stop. Do not keep trying. Just be like, you know what? I'm done. Well, and let it go. Do not try to get better if you do not enjoy it the first time.
It's not that I want to try just to try the throwing aspect to it.
Yeah. That's the worst part.
Here's my problem. My problem with pottery is that, and I was telling Galen this and why, because he actually wants us to do classes, right? He was like, oh, we should do it together. So I was like, okay, sure. But the problem that I have with it is it's like baking, right? Like you do all of this stuff and then you put it in an oven and you don't know what's going to happen after. And for me, that's something that's difficult, right? Like when I think about dressmaking, it's similar in that you're putting these things together and you don't know what it's going to be like until it's done. But unlike dressmaking, if I screw something up or it doesn't fit right or something's wrong with it, I can kind of chop it up and make it into something different.
You can't do shit with it.
No.
And the worst part is, even unlike baking and doing it in class format, you won't know till like 2 weeks later what it's like.
Right.
Because it's on their schedule and you have to wait for it to get fired and stuff. And it's horrible.
That's how it's on the show. Like that's how it is on the show. And so I'm not going to give you any like giveaways, but I literally, it made me even more terrified of it. I was just like, oh God, like this is a lot that could go wrong.
So speaking of terrified, let's go back to the topic we were starting. We've got a little off the rails.
What we do. What we do.
How terrified are you of the future right now? Or is it is what it is?
I would say so for me personally, I am not personally terrified because
I agree with that.
Because I'm at least in a safe space of life, right? So I can be the first person to say that I do have the privilege that my job hasn't been affected by coronavirus or anything like that. So like for myself and my husband and for us personally, so far we're not worried for us specifically. However, since neither one of us is without empathy, I am very worried about so many different people because like in my job, I know that
the cat's taking a shit in here, by the way, right now while we're having this very deep conversation.
I'm in the same room as my kitty litter box too, so there you go. But it's that I know that there are industries that are being like majorly affected. I know that especially like the coronavirus and the handling of it and the fact that like things are getting worse again. And I know for a fact just from talk, because I have clients all over the country, like things are starting to shut down again, right? All of this stuff that I know is happening. So I'm very worried because I try to think about the next 4 years. And like, if we keep rejecting science and scientists and we keep like talking about facts the way we do, we keep talking about it, I just feel like it's just going to get much worse.
I agree. I have hope. I honest God have hope that the lines, the people in the lines waiting to vote, like every time I pass by, like just the lines and lines and lines of people, it gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm like, I just feel like, I hate saying this, but there just has to be a point where we as a country actually decide as a country, like, hey, maybe we should make the country better. Like maybe these last few years, and you know, and here's the thing, because this is the thing that I know that people don't like Biden, and Biden is not considered progressive, and he's not considered, and I know that, right? But the thing that makes me crazy is, like, I read an article about him the other day, and people were already getting angry because they were talking about him vetting people for the cabinet. And they said that a few of the people on the list were Republicans. And in my head, I'm like, I literally think to myself, we cannot, like, for the life of us, we cannot get mad when we're talking about this guy united the country and he's doing a thing that is indicating that he is willing to, like, talk to and work with, and we're already this angry about it.
So two things on that. Number one, when people start saying that, I'm like, y'all are jumping the gun by a good long time. We still have to have an election, and there still has to be a transition of government. You are at D. We still haven't even opened up the test packet yet. We are just now sitting there at the SATs waiting for the administrator to come up with the packet and hand it to us, right? Mm-hmm. The second part is when people say that he is not progressive, there is one thing that always comes to mind. He was the first person to first Democrat to publicly sort of say, gay marriage, yeah, we're for that. And yep. Then the Democratic Party had to come back and go, no, we can't quite say that. We haven't.
And he was like, fuck it. He's like, fuck, I already said it.
Yeah, I said it. What you gonna do?
Make it happen. He's like,
yeah. And then it did.
Obama was kind of like, I wasn't ready. Fuck it. I already said it. Make it happen.
Yeah. All right. We're going to do it.
He's like, I already said it, guys. I already said it. I'm the vice president. I already said it. So
what?
Out of the bottle.
What? Like, and that's the thing. Like when people, so would it have been nice to have Elizabeth Warren as president?
Sure.
Yes. Would it have been nice to have Bernie Sanders as president? Probably. Yeah. Would it have been nice to have Kamala Harris as president? Yes. Would it have been nice to have any of them except for Tulsi Gabbard as president? Yes. Absolutely. So you know what?
Exactly. And that's the thing that for me, I'm like, this is not a contest of like who is the absolute best of the best of the best. It's literally who has the sense to talk to intelligent people, to surround themselves with intelligent people to try to run the country. That's what I care about.
Uh-huh. The one thing this election may show us, though, is that more people in this country hate women than hate black men because they all switched from Obama,
like
to Trump, and now Biden. Yeah,
it's totally showing it. Like I told my mom that I said and I was dead serious. Back when they were still doing the primary in 2016, I said the only way we were going to win is we put out a white Democratic dude. That was the only way we were going to win. Because everybody kept talking about like incumbency and patterns and blah, 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 blah. I said, that's the only way it's going to happen. I said, if she gets on the ticket, I said, I don't care who is she running against. She will not win. Because number one, people already dislike her. They disliked her before she got on the ticket. Number two, they disliked her in the states that needed to like her the most. So it was not even a matter of, because I know you'll probably get people commenting saying, she won the popular. Yes, I agree with that. However, we are still talking about our stupid country is run by the stupid electoral college. And
I have coworkers that still believe the conspiracy theory that she killed all those people. And I'm like, what would she gain? Not Bill. Like, Bill didn't do anything.
Of course not.
But Hillary killed all this. I'm like, what would she have to gain for that? These are the same people who think that Bill Gates is out there trying to kill African children. Like, what? And then I follow up with, you don't care about African children anyway.
Yeah, when did that start happening? You see, now you know how Africa's going?
Yeah, exactly.
Now everyone in America cares about Africa? What?
Yeah. Anyway, go on. What were you gonna say?
I don't see you ditching your phones for like all of the minerals that they're being like raped of. I don't see you like, what are you talking about? It's just impossible. It's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible. So I genuinely have just been like, okay, none of this is going to make any sense. Hopefully this turns out for the best, but knowing how wacky America has turned into, it's now everyone's wacky uncle. Who knows what it's going to be? I certainly
who the hell knows? But we have to vote.
Oh my god! I don't even. This is the part for me that is the most disheartening. Is like there are so many people that don't vote.
No,
so many people that don't vote, and
I understand the disenfranchised because we have physically removed them from being able to vote.
Yeah, no,
but those that can and are easily able to vote and they don't.
Yeah, I don't get it. And the thing is like I am definitely for freedom of choice, right? Like in terms of like your political party. I don't think if a person tells me, like I have a few friends that are libertarians or people like that, and I see their posts about their political views and their candidates and stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, I think if you want to vote for that person, right? Like I've never been a person who thinks that like people that don't think the way I think shouldn't be allowed to vote. I think everybody should vote, but I literally think that everybody should vote, because the thing about voting that makes me the most frustrated is when very huge decisions are made because of very few people in very few states. That for me is the absolute worst feeling.
I remember I may or may not have gone to a gay club in my youth. I know, right? But they had voter like registration at Legends in Raleigh, and some people are like, "Oh, why would you even do that?" Like, you little twinks! I nearly smacked them. It's like, what are you? What? I bet you those people are in the closet and
I just don't understand. Like, I don't get, as a country, it's like there's this insane amount of apathy about everything. And like, even now, right? Like after everything that's happened for the last 4 years, right? There's this like this level of shrug, and like your grandmother probably like understood. It's like, this is literally the kind of thing that ends up with dictators. Like, because enough people shrug that a person gets away with murder, and then they keep getting away with murder, and then all the people that are shrugging are now looking around saying like, what happened? When did we end up in dictatorship?
What? No. That what? No.
What do you?
Oh, President Ivanka, we didn't vote on her. What?
When did that happen? I don't remember that being on the ballot. Jared Kushner, what? How is he running the UN now? What? Who made that happen? It's like, and you should definitely listen to, was it Radio Lab this week? Radio Lab, they actually did a thing about voting this week, and it was really very interesting because they talked about different ways that people vote. Like they're talking about the stack ranking voting and like what that's like. I think it was in Ireland that they do that, and how that
they do that in Maine, and they do that in Germany as well. Yep,
they started doing it in San Francisco as well. They just had that for their first like mayoral election. They were talking about it actually, but it was just really interesting because they were talking about, is democracy broken, and they were basically saying like, it's not that it's broken, it's just that it needs to be reconfigured because it's not based on countries that are the size of our country. The current model just doesn't work because it's like 300 plus million people. It doesn't work in the same way. So it was really interesting because I was like, I just don't understand like what And I feel like, I don't know, this will probably never happen. Maybe it will, but it's just, we have to like at some point take a step back and say, hey, maybe this isn't working like exactly this way. Like, maybe we actually should re-examine it, because I just don't, it doesn't make sense to me sometimes. I genuinely am looking at the current situation like, it doesn't make sense, right? Like when I got the mail-in ballot, right? Perfect example. You get the mail-in ballot and you have all of these candidates for president. There were like five or six on my ballot. And in my head, I was like, I really do think it would be cool if all of them debated. Like, even though I know that the debate commission does what they do and blah, 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 you know, people have their own controversy about that. But I was just like, I would love to see a debate with all of these different groups.
I sometimes wonder, you know, talking about the Senate and things that changing the way we do things, if the forefathers envisioned a state as rural as like Wyoming being equal to California.
Right.
Like, yes, back in the day they had like Rhode Island, which was a very small state that didn't have that many people, but the proportionality wise of there's like so few people in Wyoming.
Yep.
But they still get the 2 senators. Like, is that really what the forefathers thought about?
The thing
is it time for us to move to a parliamentary democracy?
Well, even and this is not just because of the fact that like the Democrats currently have control of the House, but to me, I've never understood, and you know, I'm not a political history person, but I've never understood how the Senate somehow has retained so much more power than the House, right? Because it's like one of them is literally a direct representation of the actual, like, you know, even though a lot of it is still gerrymandered, it's still a closer version of the country in terms of representation by population than the Senate is. And it's like, how does the Senate get to retain and keep all of its constant power that they have, like with the Supreme Court, with everything else? It's like, it doesn't make any sense.
The Constitution.
Oh, I know. The Constitution, our beautiful Constitution written by slave owners.
They can be changed. Like, and it would just take an amendment. Like, we would just have to convince.
Girl, amendments in this country at this point, I think about amendments in America the way I think about American Idol. Like, we can't even get that voting system right, let alone an amendment.
So I was talking to a coworker about the Green New Deal, right? The person's a climate change denier. So they do not believe that the
wait.
carbon dioxide. Yeah,
at
I know.
Your workplace.
Yes. They said, you know, they don't believe that carbon dioxide is causing global warming. They will agree with me that destroying the Amazon forest would. Like, I can get them to that point. They're like, oh yeah, because you're getting rid of the green, you're getting rid of the trees, that could cause it because, you know, more carbon dioxide. I was like, but it's carbon dioxide that you just said wasn't causing it. Whatever. Anyway, where was I going with this story? Holy shit.
That's that 40-year-old.
I have lost the Green New Deal. Yes. We started talking about the Green New Deal, and he was complaining about it, spending money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, wait, do you like clean air and water? Yeah, of course. Do you think we should have clean air and water? Yeah, of course. Do you think coal destroys the air and water? Well, yeah. So regulating is good. Well, yeah, I could see that if you approach it that way, but it doesn't do anything for like the like global warming. But if you did it that way and, you know, protected it, but it's still we still have to have cheap energy. Like, but what?
It always comes back to selfish reasons.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Everything, I feel like almost everything that a person puts out there that falls into that conservative line of thinking, it almost always is tied back to selfish thinking. Like I mean, literally, like every position they have, just about, it's just selfish thinking.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing because it's just, it's not even a thing that you can say is like not true. It's completely true. Everything goes back to this selfish thought. And I mean, it is what it is, right? Like I can't make people more sympathetic or empathetic, or I can't do it. I would love to be able to help a person learn about empathy and how to treat people the way you want to be treated and how to treat people with dignity and respect. And I would love to be that person that could actually teach that to people. But I don't personally think that most people want it.
No, they don't.
And that's where we're having the problem, right? Like you have people.
But then again, is it my lack of empathy thinking in saying that they don't want it?
I don't think it's that. I think that we've seen people, they've had the chance, right?
Yep.
They've had the chance to show empathy, right? If we think about the last 4 years and all of the things that have happened in the last 4 years, it has given us as a country multiple chances to show true empathy.
It's true.
Right? Whether it be Black Lives Matter, whether it be the children in cages, whether it be the treatment of refugees, whether it be like over and over and over and over and over again. But the only thing that we've seen people get riled up about that don't normally get riled up about things are the police. And that they should feel completely like it should be okay for the police to feel completely safe to do whatever they absolutely want to do to any citizen without any sort of due process. That's the thing that we're rallying.
I of course check on like old coworkers who I do not particularly care for Facebook walls because they still leave them public. Like even though I'm not friends with them at all, they still leave them public. They shouldn't, but they do. So I clicked on one of this person who I do not agree with politically, and she said, "Hey, does anybody have any suggestions about where to go besides Asheville, North Carolina? Because Asheville is, and I know you can't even say it, DTP, defunding the police. Yes. And I'm just not sure it's safe anymore there. So I need to know where I can go that's safe." I'm like, girl, maybe you should go to the mountains because I don't.
Here, okay. The thing is, right, and about the defunding the police thing, it's like everything else in our country at this point. It goes right back to what I said. PR, right? Yeah. You have a terrible term that does mean what it's talking about, but it's not an all-encompassing term that explains what it actually means. And so because of that, it gets bad PR. And because bad PR in America runs everything, you got all of these people that hear the words defund the police, they freak out because selfishly they're worried about their property and their way of life. So they immediately turn against it and turn back toward we have to protect the police, even though they need nothing to be protected against. But that's what I mean. It's everything in America. It always comes back to good PR, bad PR. It's literally
and greed.
It's like
greed.
What was it I was reading the other day, and someone said something about Black Lives Matter, and then they like equated everything. Like they promote violence, they promote this, I'm like, I don't even jump into those conversations at this point because I realize that the PR has already gone too far. It's already, it's just like Trumpism here. It's like once it's out there, there's nothing you can say to a person to get them to understand that they're wrong. Like their brain has already like started the process of shutting down, and I know that's not what this means. It means this. You're like, well, okay.
Just as an aside, in a part that will be cut from this conversation, lived under a bunch of oak trees, and it sounds like a barrage of acorns. Don't. Oh.
I am so confused right now. Like, so confused.
It's lightweight and easy open. Sanka. You know, if they want me as a spokesperson, Sanka. Sanka. Drink Sanka. Sanka. Drink Sanka.
That was a lot of stuff you just told me.
I know. He was going to get leave for a joint venture between with Peter Thiel, who used on PayPal, and the president of Uber, but that was too dark for me. He's like, that's too dark. I'm like, girl,
Peter Thiel would not even be as prominent as he was without Fox News.
It's true. Second question: what is that adorable clock to your left or to your right? I guess
this.
Yes,
a little vintage clock.
It is. I
got it on Amazon.
I live for it.
I for it.
Huh?
I send you the link. I got it on Amazon.
Okay, good. All I have is a cheap. What the fuck did I do with it? No, I had it. I had a cheap plastic phone. Here it is. That I was.
Well, this is actually like my normally where I sit for work. So like it's like a little nook inside of my sewing room that I can use for that. And I wanted to make it cute. So
yeah, you have to have things for people to look at.
Right. We used to not do virtual backgrounds, but now we have like a work virtual background. So I guess I could sit other places in the house right now, but I mean, this is kind of like, I've been here for months. So that's, it is.
Well, I need to go and walk my dog before it gets dark. It's starting to get dark a little bit sooner here, so I need to go do that.
So also, I got to go get some groceries and make some dinner.
Oh, girl.
Yeah. So.
Well, let's just remind the people out there to vote. Please vote. Please vote.
Like whoever you vote for, just vote. I don't care. I do care.
I do care. I really care.
Hold on. Let me be very serious.
Okay.
Serious.
Sorry. I apologize.
We're two comedy queens. So I would love for you to vote for the Democratic Party because at the moment they are the only ones that are looking out for my best interests. As a multiracial, homosexual, in homosexual marriage to another multiracial individual. So for us particularly, that would be very helpful. However, I want your voice to be heard, right? If you are a part of the group that is against all of that and you want to get your voice heard, make sure it's heard, right? Like if you are a person that's in the middle and you want your, very diverse assortment of things to be heard, great, vote a mixed ticket. But as long as you vote, just vote, because that way we can understand where the country should be going versus having it determined by a very small number of people. If this country goes for President Trump in a landslide, then that tells me everything I need to know about currently living in America.
And we need to start looking at going somewhere else.
Exactly, right? If something like that were to happen, great. You just let me know what I should be thinking about in terms of my future. However, if things are always just like, well, right there, skin of the teeth, it's right down the middle, that tells me nothing, especially when most of the country is not voting, or like a very large percentage of the country is not voting. That tells me nothing about what us as a country actually wants. So
it's true.
I say, please just vote, for God's sake.
Vote. I agree. Please just vote.
If you vote.
And another little aside that I just thought about, this lipstick I'm wearing right now.
Yes.
Is it Maybelline?
Girl,
Maybelline. I am in love with it. I put a little clown white on to make it a little more.
Yeah, Maybelline's got good lipsticks. Yeah, I did mine as marbling. If you've never gotten any of the makeup line from Juvia's place, I'll have to send you their link the next time they're having a sale. It is the best.
Yeah.
It's Black owned. and they are everything. Their eyeshadow palettes. This is their orange. It's
I
literally
love it.
It's everything, and but their lipstick, because everything, their entire eyeshadow, almost all of their makeup lines are inspired by African names. So
Okay.
because this it was black, they call it Dudu, D-U-D-U, which is appropriate. So I like did some marbling with that and some orange to like make it gross. But yeah, but Maybelline has stepped up their
this I think it's Maybelline. Like, I don't see the name, but this shit, this little guy right here. Where am I? Yeah. This I don't see the name on anywhere.
I think that's a Revlon tube.
Is it a Revlon tube?
I think it's a Revlon tube.
Okay, then Revlon, which was made probably in North Carolina. I didn't know if you knew that. The Revlon factories in North Carolina.
Yeah, no,
right near where your brother lives.
I know my makeup containers at this point.
Okay. Well, all right, dear. I will talk to you soon. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Miss Niams. Have yourself a nice Sanka.
Bye, girl.
Bye, girl.
Bye, girl. And meaning for